Graduates in the UK are among the most indebted in the world, collectively owing $140 billion in student loans. But the government has offered some reprieve. Students won't have to pay back their loans now until they earn more than $35,000 a year. So undergraduates like Alice and Hannah at the SOAS University of London will be better off.
So you won't be going straight into a job and being like, oh God, I've got to pay it back straight away. So it gives you more time to get on your feet, more time to kind of like establish yourself, find rent, get that initial promotion to a better job like straight away. So it's good.
And maybe save some more money as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Borrowers earning less than $35,000 a year won't have to pay back a cent. On or above that, and they'll have to repay 9% of their income. Under the new system, this means that most graduates will have around $42 extra a month.
But the policy has also been met with scepticism, with some saying it's a political move to lure younger voters.
I mean, I think it is just more of a sweetener. If they were actually concerned about helping students, they would take measures to maybe reduce tuition fees, to actually just reduce the quantity of debt they have.
Good that, when you're kind of earning minimum wage base level, it's a little bit less brutal on paying back the loans. But I think actually, when it comes down to people like being put off going to uni and being worried about the debts, then that's not really going to make a difference. It's not what people think about. It's not like when you have to pay it back, it's the fact that you've got this debt hanging over your head.
The Institute for Fiscal Studies expects student debt to rise to $225 billion by 2022 and has warned that over 80% of graduates may never pay back their full student loan.
Because of this increase in the threshold, repayments will go down, so write-offs will be higher after 30 years. So from 79% of people who would have seen some part of their loans written off after 30 years, we expect this to go up to 83% of people.
These measures don't help cut the overall debt burden for students, and many will still be repaying their loans well into their 50s. But at least for now, low and mid-earning graduates will have a little more to spend. Jessica King, TRT World, London.
So are students going to feel the reprieve? Let's try and find out with TRT World's editor-at-large, Craig Copetas, who joins us from Paris. Hello, Craig. Look, perhaps I think the most startling figure, in that report we heard from Jessica, is that 80% of graduates won't ever pay back their full loans. Does it make sense for students to be given loans rather than a full grant from the government?
Well, in the first place, the banks gleefully triggered the worst global financial crisis since the Great Depression by pushing lunatic mortgage-backed securities. That was for practice. Then they got around to marketing unpayable loans to college kids. And given the history of the people who are doing the loaning, these kids, and they are kids, are dealing with an industry that's, more slippery than a pocket full of pudding. It's not a good place to be.
Right. Craig, so that was in the UK. You're a parent of a child who's at university in the US. Is it a similar story over there?
Well, excuse me. Well, it's actually the figures are marginally worse in the UK. In the US, the student debt bubble is $1.2 trillion. But the average loan balance is only $38,000, which is a little bit lower than the UK. But there's more to this than just the loans. Temple University, a few weeks ago, did a study that showed that 36% of the students they surveyed at 66 colleges in the U.S. didn't get enough food to eat during the week and didn't have a place to live on a regular basis. And the reason for this, the study said, was ballooning college costs, inadequate and poorly managed aid packages, and a lot of low-income students who've been lured into mortgage-backed security type loans for their college education.
Very quickly, Craig, have rising student debts contributed to income inequalities around the world?
Well, there's no question about that, and certainly in the United States. Remember, there was a push a number of years ago that everyone could get a college education in the U.S. That led to the creation of what is known in the U.S. as matchbook universities. Universities that you can sign on to online. They don't teach you anything. Many of them are now under federal investigation. Many of them have been hit with fines. One of those universities, by the way, you may have heard of, Azar, is called Trump University.
Well, go figure. Craig Copetas in Paris, thank you so much.